All right, here we go again. Oh, by the way, hello viewers. Another beautiful day. Yep. Hope your five senses work, health, and strength is good or excellent. What? Listen to this article. It's talking about Valve and Half-Life 2. It says Valve first came up with the Steam hardware survey more than 20 years ago because it wanted to know what specs it should target for Half-Life 2. Then it says the Steam hardware survey has become a critical resource for games industry, allowing curious enthusiasts or practical-minded developers to get a sense of how the average PC gamer enjoys the hobby. To hear Valve senior engineer Jay Stelly tell it in Half-Life 2 new 20th anniversary developer commentary, the Steam hardware survey first came about because Valve itself had no other way of accessing the information. Says during the development, we faced numerous decisions influenced by our choice of minimum specs, the least powerful CPU and GPU combination that would still deliver a good experience for customers. Stelly said in a commentary track located in Level Route Canal in early 2000, there was far more variety among GPUs than today, with wide differences not only in speed but in fundamental approaches to rendering. And then it says something that often seems forgotten when people pine for good old days of PC hardware. They were exciting graphic breakthroughs all the time, but compatibility was not given like it is today with 3DFX, ATI, NVIDIA, 3D Labs, Exabre, um, Matrox cards, all all floating around in the late 90s and early 2000s, and really playing nice with every single game. Obsolescence came on much faster as well. You can still get away with a 10-year-old GTX 970 in Dragon Age, the Veilguard. Now imagine trying to run Half-Life 2 on a hardware from 1994. Says here, but at the time we had no real data on the hardware our customers were using. Stelly continued, what CPU and GPU did they have, how much RAM, which versions of Windows. We reached out to Microsoft hoping they might know answers to the question like how many DirectX cards are in use or DirectX 8. Unfortunately, they didn't have the data either. Realizing we were at risk of making bad decisions without these insights, we developed an analysis tool that allowed players to report their hardware specs to us and integrate it into the early version of Steam. That data was so useful that we decided to make it public, launching the Steam hardware survey in April in 2003. It's it it's being helpful. It's been helping us and hopefully other developers and making informed decisions ever since. Latest Steam hardware survey from October showcased a vastly different industry from at the initiative inception. Team Red and Team Green are still around, but ATI was acquired and subsumed by AMD, while NVIDIA is now a world best riding AI colossus. Its consumer GPU business a quaint afterthought, even as its dominance in the market share. It's still a dead heat between Intel and AMD for processors, but ARM is waiting in the wings to potentially overtake x86, and the number of core counts, storage, RAM, and clock speed are vastly higher. Steam itself is now most people get. Steam is now how most people get PC games. Linux is finally flexing its muscle as a PC gaming platform, largely thanks to Valve gaming on a Mac. And well, it's there. And that is that. Good article though. Look, before Steam came around, we had how we knew what to use in a on a computer. Well, you had authors like Scott Mueller, you had Mike Mears, you had Charles Brooks, you had Bigelow, you had Mark Manassi, but he covers computer hardware, but he was more into the server side and networking. And then there were others. So that was one way of knowing computer hardware to use. The other way now was like through magazines. We had what was that? Maximum PC. That was one, and then we had what was the other one? Custom PC, and then you had those special edition magazines from the Maximum PC sides, and then you had some computer hardware from like the Linux Journal and stuff like that. That's what before the internet took off. That was the way to learn computer hardware. So, you know, Valve, based on this article now, Valve, they capitalized on an opportunity here because nobody probably took it serious. Like who needs to know what computer hardware we need to use in on today's games. Valve saw the opportunity and they seized it. They even went to Microsoft, and Microsoft didn't even take that side serious. But at the time, Microsoft was pretty big, by the way, so they had other works to attend to. They didn't have time to attend to that little small stuff. Anyway, but Valve capitalized on it, and it works. So like they said, imagine running Half-Life 2 on a 486. But I'm joking. Like on a what do you say? Running on a GTX 970 or running on a hardware in 1994. See, 1994 that was like Pentium 1. 94 was like Pentium 1, Pentium 1, Pentium 2. 286, 486, 386 era. So yeah, imagine running Half-Life on that. So, but back then before games got as big as they are now, those hardware can handle games for that time. So there, Valve just capitalized on this, man, and ATI, 3DFX was around. I think they had the Voodoo cards. Then you had 80. You had 3DFX, NVIDIA. You had I think what Creative Labs. Creative Labs. They did speakers. They did sound cards. I don't think they did graphics cards. You had out. Of course, Apple was around then. So yeah. But the industry came. Came from grew from that though, because somebody had to take up that responsibility. Somebody had to, somebody had to, how Apple talks about computer hardware, and they had graphics card, but Valve, they saw the opportunity and they just seized it, because computers were taking over. Look, when I was reading up on computers, I personally knew that like every house in the United States had to have a. Look, I knew this before the internet even got big. I knew that every house in the United States had to have a computer in it because the times were changing. That's how advanced I was when I was learning about this stuff. So I knew then. That was back in the Pentium 1 days, 486 days. I knew this, that every house had to have a computer in it, because the internet was where it was going to be, and yeah, and I was trying to keep up with it. Of course, I didn't have a computer back then, but I was reading books and magazines to keep up with the times. That's how I learned this stuff. So yeah, but the industry came a long way, man, and Valve saw the opportunity, and they capitalized off of it. Half-Life, I didn't play Half-Life on PC when it came out. I played Half-Life on I think on the original Xbox, or probably the Dream. Actually, I had a chance to get the Dreamcast version. There were 4 copies of it, but I picked Quake 3 over it. Silly me. But anyway, I should have got both. But anyway, yeah, man, the industry came along pretty came along nice, quite well, man. And as technology was changing, man, you needed ways to get information on what to use on on when it comes to gaming, man. I remember working in in a computer store, and I had to show people how to, what hardware they needed to use, what hardware they needed, and what computer they needed to run games, man. And yeah, so you know, with this, Valve saw an opportunity and capitalized on it, man. And yeah, you had to you just I mean you had to really love this stuff. Tell you the truth, you know. The technology was changing, man. Because when I got into this, when I started learning this stuff, man, and I knew that every house had to have a computer, had to have a computer in it. I took a PC. I was studying PC hardware at the time, so I was already into this stuff, into video games, So, but when I was learning the hardware stuff and reading those books, I knew that every house had to have a computer in it, and that was back in like 19. I was like 91, 90, like 91, 92. I was into it then, So yeah, but yeah, man. And the way we learned about computer hardware was through books and magazines. But then to have a website now that shows you, like shows you what people are using and what they're buying and what they're, yeah, man. The industry has come a long way, man. But yeah, Valve capitalized on this. They saw an opportunity, and seized it. Yeah. So now Steam always have these surveys, that they come out with, see what gamers are using and what kind of hardware they're using, whether they're using DirectX 11, 12, 10, So yeah, they're probably using Windows 10, Windows 11, That stuff is fun to learn though when you're when it comes to comes to gaming, know what people are using, So yeah. But technology just came a long way, man, and made things a little better. So, when it comes to this tech stuff, you just got to be really into it. You got to love it. Tell you the truth, you can't fake it. So yeah. But when people wanted to learn hardware, though, they had to go to places like Borders Books or Barnes and Noble to go get it, go get the information, or probably they ordered magazines like Maximum PC to learn about hardware or custom PC and all that. So, yeah, man. Half-Life, man. I had a chance to get the Dreamcast version of Half-Life, and I picked Quake 3 over it. I should have got both, but anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy though. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, for the Star Wars and Star Trek thing. Dark Side. Go.